Many software engineering companies and software engineers take interest in this programming language Rust. From the outside, it looks really good. It offers memory safety, no undefined behavior, and other nice and shiny things. But there have been nice and shiny things before. Is it worth it to invest my time in the programming language Rust? Now, in this Exploring Rust course, we will take a look at this very question. Adopting a new programming language, especially in a production setting, is not a light-hearted decision. Is Rust ready for production at all? Now, if you find yourself asking this question, but you don't have enough information to make this decision, then the Exploring Rust course may be for you. The course is called Exploring Rust, which is exactly what the focus is about. We'll provide the attendees with enough information to build their own conclusions on what Rust is and what Rust isn't, and give them the tools to decide whether or not they're going to use it and adopt it after the course. And perhaps not. But at least they have a good and strong value judgment of the language. The course is built up in 2 half days. There's a low barrier of entry this way because it's not a big investment. It's only 1 day in total, approximately. However, we do assume that the attendees have a strong background in and experience in systems development, because this way we can enter the discussions and topics at a high level and focus mostly on the details of the language and not having to deal with learning how to program. But we can really focus on what Rust is and what Rust isn't. There's a number of concepts in Rust that are really different from the ubiquitous languages in systems development like C and C++. And if we miss out on these concepts, you really miss out on Rust as a whole. So it's quite important to get all those concepts right. During the course, we spent about 1/3 of the time doing in-class hands-on exercises. And for those that are interested, there are some larger homework assignments to enjoy for outside of the course. Yes, and that is true. But that's exactly not the point of the course. So we are not trying to deliver Rust experts. We will provide the attendees with enough knowledge to make the decision whether or not Rust is interesting for them. So the course came about from 2 observations. The first one is that many software engineers take interest in Rust, but they are still apprehensive to spend time on it, or perhaps they don't get the time from their employers. And on the other hand, there's plenty of experience in software development around. And the Exploring Rust course basically merges those observations. With the Exploring Rust course, we offer a course with a low barrier of entry, only 9 hours in total. But we will provide the attendees with enough knowledge to build a value judgment of Rust. And with that knowledge, they can decide whether or not Rust is good for them, and perhaps they can even start adopting the language themselves. Is that true? Well, from my own experience, I would say that learning Rust is not any harder than learning advanced C or C++. Now, C may be a very simple language. You can learn the syntax in no time, but to become a good C or C++ developer takes many years of hard work and discipline. Perhaps learning Rust is a little harder in the beginning because the learning curve is steeper, and this is, I think, mostly because the language is larger, but I don't think it makes much of a difference on the long run. And then Rust has a number of advantageous things to go for it. First off, the compiler of Rust is a very good programming companion. If you get a compiler error, it's always really helpful, and often even it provides a fix at the same time. And if you learn to deal with that, it really makes for a nice experience. And then there are the safety aspects of the Rust language. Now, Rust is guaranteed to be memory safe and inhibits no undefined behavior. Think of it as guardrails, trying to prevent yourself from shooting yourself in the foot. All C and C++ developers know the feeling. There's some very sharp tools in those languages. Now in Rust, there's some protection for that. And this may feel as a trade-off between safety and freedom, but that really isn't the case. One of the strong suits of Rust actually is expressive freedom, and this makes it a real attractive language to work with. So to summarize, Rust is mostly about empowerment, and it's not really any harder to learn than advanced C or C++. You may also think Rust is a relatively young language. It's only a decade old compared to the other languages that are still mostly used in this field. Is it ready for production? Well, this is a question that I cannot answer definitively with yes, because it kind of depends. If we're talking a general application development, something like desktop applications, cloud application, network applications, things that run on commodity hardware or any regular hardware off the shelf, then that's a definite yes. There are many companies in the world that are already running Rust in production for years. Whether or not Rust can be used for your embedded device also depends often on the manufacturers of these devices. So if your manufacturer doesn't support Rust, then sometimes it will be harder to have it work with Rust. But it really depends. And also, it's a matter of, I think it's a matter of time, because I see more and more devices being supported. It's in these days, it's mostly a question of community. The larger the community around the device, the more chances there will be support for your device. Then there's also the application domains like automotive industry or aeronautics industry that require additional certifications for the software stacks. And this also is something that still has to grow for Rust. But it's also a matter of time. In fact, last year in 2023, in October, Rust toolchain was released by a German company called Ferris Systems. And this Rust toolchain is qualified for use in ISO 26262 certification. And this makes it possible to use Rust for automotive software development. And they are now working on a higher level requirement environment. So again, it's just a matter of time before Rust will be supported in most, if not all, environments. So if you are a software engineer or an employer of software engineers that have decent experience and have an interest in Rust, then the Exploring Rust training is something for you. So I hope to see you at the Exploring Rust training.